that for it.
I'll take you on. I love the U.S. Open. I thought it was fantastic.
So you love the fact that if you miss the fairway by a foot, you might run into a northern alligator or something because the grass is so deep. And then it's not, and then it's so fast. They have it so fast that JJ hits a flag and the ball ends up 60 yards down the fairway. For goodness sakes!
Well, I'll tell you something. First of all, I like this. Do you like Brandel Chambly?
I do, generally speaking.
Yeah, he's a bit officious.
Oh, he is. He hates Liv, though, so I like that.
Yeah, but he had they did some analysis on the percentage of fairways hit in the days when players weren't hitting the ball so long.
Oh, yeah.
Versus today.
Sure.
And his take on this was, bleep these guys. They all think they can come to a tournament, and because they hit it 300 yards, they're going to win and make a lot of money. He said, none of these idiots could hit a fairway.
Yeah, because they kept just hitting what they hit.
They just bombed it 4 miles, and the next thing you know, they're getting a bogey.
Yeah, I once heard somebody say to me, why did they miss fairways? Because, if when you were hitting at 220 or 230 and you were 2% off, you missed the fairway. Now you're 2% off and you're hitting at 320.
And I'll give you this, the fairways are narrow.
But the fact is, if you missed them you had what? How long was the short rough? About 2 feet.
You mean the so-called first cut?
The first cut was about 2 feet, and then you were in the jungle.
I thought it was great, and Spaun did what these victorious stories always show, the resolve and the not giving up. I mean, when that ball hit the flag and went back 4 miles, he could have said, oh, man.
Well, he shot 40 on the front. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, the last guy to shoot 40 on the front was in the 1890s, I believe, to win.
Really?
And he, by the way, he shot 79. Francis Oumont, or whatever his name
I
is.
thought it was neat. The other thing I saw, have you ever been to Oakmont?
No.
In your mental imagery, where did you think Oakmont was in relation to Pittsburgh?
I thought it was out in the, 10 miles out of town in the countryside.
Well, see, I thought 40 miles. Okay. I thought it was way out in western Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's probably to Pittsburgh what the Minneapolis Golf Club is to Minneapolis.
Okay,
it's right there.
And it is when did we start making steel there?
Oh,
in the 1890s,
the onset of the industrial age.
Industrial age, and those are the guys who.
This guy was a steel guy,
and then all these members were probably other steel guys.
Yeah, and his buddies were the guys who owned the railroad, so he had to build a course on either side of it. And then the Pennsylvania Turnpike came along, and he wasn't about to. By then, they didn't have enough money to say we're too important for you to build a freeway.
I told you I did listen to the interview with Hansi, the guy who redid it, kind of. Mm-hmm. He says, we are trying to maintain the vision of Henry Founds. I said, they were hitting at 160, That's
well, the vision he had, he wanted an inland links course.
Yes.
And
then was it in the 50s that they planted all the trees or sometime?
If you look at 1994 highlights, for example, when Ernie Els won, you'd think you were in the middle of a forest.
Yeah, but I think they started planting the trees in the 50s.
I guess.
Just like all the courses around here.
And now there are a lot of courses around here are taking them down.
Minnetonka was apparently sat up on that little rise there and didn't have a lot of trees. And then they started taking them out they're trying to recapture the vision of when they were newer courses, but they also they're 500 yards longer than they used to be too.
Spaun struggled back from 5 bogeys.
Yes.
I mean, he's a great story.
Oh God, he is. Yeah. I was rooting for him very hard, and I was saying, ooh. this is an iffy 2-putt because you know, if you're 3 feet away there.
Plus, it's driving rain.
Yeah. And you're 3 feet away there, you're 60-40 to make it.
He certainly settled that, didn't he?
Yes.
Just what the hell? Let's drain this one.
Now, where did he make the other long putt? It wasn't 17, was it 16?
I thought it was 12.
12. When he went into the lead, though, where did he make the good putt?
I don't know.
When he went into the lead, because he was one ahead when he putted. He had a 2-putt to win it. So
Tyrell Hatton, I get a kick out of him. He's a maniac.
Yeah, he is.
And
he's a live boy.
Yeah, he's live.
Mm-hmm. So
no live guys. Did anybody
just see much? Well,
who was the highest finishing live guy?
Carlos Ortiz is a live guy, I believe.
Yeah.
And so Hatton or Ortiz, whichever one. But boy, how about
who needs live when you can win $4 million for winning?
What do you think of the ruling on Sam Burns, man?
Oh, I think you got to let him have a drop out of the water, don't you?
Yes.
Spaun won $4,300,000. Is McIntyre a live guy? British guy?
No, I think he plays. I think he plays a lot in Europe and here.
Tyrell Hatton's a live guy, and Ortiz is a live guy. Is Cameron Young a live guy?
No.
John Rahm is a live guy. He was up there.
Yeah. Well, what got you?
Koepka was a live guy. He kind of hung around.
Yeah, he didn't. He was gone after about 12 holes, though. As far as who
guy I felt bad for was Adam Scott.
Oh God.
Oh my God, he fell from one off the lead.
He's popped up a little bit in the last 2 or 3 years, but he was, gone for.
He's 44,
15 years or something. Yeah. He's 44. He was like Tiger's rival there. They were the same age, right?
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, the Spaun saved it. I just thought it was. I want to see a birdie once in a while, and Why was it so tough to putt?
Probably
why couldn't you make an 8-footer?
Because they were glass. It was.
Yeah, I mean it was. That's. I thought the rough was ridiculous and the speed was ridiculous, but nobody could make a putt either.
What I did think was ridiculous is hole number 8 yesterday played a par 3, 302 yards. What is that proving? What is the point of that? A 302-yard par 3.
That's proving we want to see a lot of double bogeys. That's
because that puts them between clubs, and it's you can't hit a driver because they could probably fly that.
Yeah, right.
So now what do you hit? 3-wood or fairway wood?
But into those greens, if you hit a 3-wood into those greens, it's going to run 20 yards out the back, and you're going to be down in the jungle.
Is the objection from both of you that, because again, you guys know infinitely more about golf than I do, but you don't want to see the challenge, or what is your main critique?
You got the challenge.
Well, I don't get the point of it. I mean, they all can hit it that far, so I don't get. I would rather see a 100-yard par 3 surrounded by quicksand and water.
Okay, yes. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 300 yards it's just not a par 3. It's
okay.
230 is about the max.
Gotcha.
240. There used to be actually guidelines that were almost rules, and then now you got many 500-yard par 4s, but which was a par. I mean, it's the manufacturers and the players' fault because they hit it so damn far.
Okay, this course proved you cannot hurt these guys with length.
No,
you can only hurt them with tricking up everything else.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And that's what I've been saying is you got to have the greens lightning fast,
mm-hmm.
and then you got to have rough, But the rough in this, I think this was the highest rough I'd ever seen.
How would you like to be a member there? Well, obviously they are going to cut the grass today.
Probably not, though. I bet a lot of them want to. Let me play.
Well, are they all scratch players there?
No, but they probably want to go home and say, "Yeah, we played it in tournament conditions, and I shot 138 or something like that." So
you're right.
That's the way it goes. But
what's wrong with Rory McIlroy?
He took his driver away from him, but I don't know. I think he's having domestic problems.
He was pouting the whole weekend.
I know. I did love his quote when he finally talked on Saturday, what's your goal for tomorrow? Said, play in 4.5 hours and leave.
Right.
Oh, really?
But he knew he couldn't play in 4.5 hours there. The rounds were taking 5.5 hours. So. He was in a bad mood.
Because Joe, you said
I think it's domestic.
I do
think, you got that radar because you're married to that radar. You got the radar about relationships. So you saw Rory her walking 100 yards behind Rory
bad
after
optics.
he wins the Masters. Right then, we're saying she ain't forgiving him.
Well, plus he rented his own house.
They might be back together, but she ain't forgot.
But they rented 2 houses at the Masters. One for her, one for him. Yeah, it's a bad deal.
Yes, it is.
It's not working out.
hear him out.
No, I
Preebs.
mean, that's a nice idea,
I had a friend of mine go on vacation to a very nice spot, and he was having a little trouble with the wife, and they stayed in different hotels.
Well, it works out.
Well, we work with a guy that might do morning traffic, and he and his roommate watch the same movie from different rooms,
Okay, yeah.
and then text each other.
Unlike
about
Orville and his wife, who watched different movies from the same
from the
room,
same
Right.
couch.
which was always it was difficult to me.
They
for
were
me.
the best. Oh my god.
Well, I liked it.
I
but
think
then-
there were times too when Orville was in trouble with the missus too. There's times that the missus was a little upset with Orville. How's Orville doing? What do I care?
Next year, where we're holding this baby? Shinnecock. We're back to Shinnecock.
Let's try to get it a little better than. Was it the last time? No, it was 2 times ago when it was terrible, right? When it was unplayable on Sunday. That got completely away from them.
Yes.
Yeah, that was have they been back since then? I think they have.
I know they
coming
were
back.
there in 2004.
That's the year it got away from them.
That's the year Retief Goosen won.
Yes. You couldn't make a 2-foot putt though. It was it was crazy. Yeah, and and they admit that the course was all brown. It got away from them completely.
The other way to do it, I bet this has been thought of, is we know that they can be reined in with big, heavy, rough, and fast greens.
Yes.
Wind. What about going in the opposite direction and have the Open at what would be considered a very easy course? Make everything as easy as
See what they
possible.
shoot?
No rough. Slow down the stimp meter.
I don't think people would like that.
Oh yeah, because now you're battling to see who
Could be
can. I'm
32.
40 under, and there's a guy 38
So
under
go out
catching
and have
me.
it on that course in Hawaii when they shoot.
Something like that.
yeah,
Wouldn't
yeah.
that be interesting though to
Yeah,
see?
It might be. They'll never do it though. The USGA. We're trying to identify
Right.
the best golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that would identify the best golfer.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that weird? Because you had told me that they were still playing close to 7 last night. Is that normal for an East Coast U.S. Open?
Normal for a U.S. Open.
Sure.
When half the shots are in the rough
I
and they're in
suppose.
there tromping
Trying
through
to
the
find
rough.
it.
Trying to find it. God Almighty. Scotty was. How about Scotty on Saturday? He missed putts that would have embarrassed me.
Yeah.
3-footer, 4-footer.
But I do
5-footer.
think if there was 7 more holes to go yesterday,
he
he
might
would
have
have
won
won it.
it. He might have won it. He might have won it. But I don't know. It was. I'll say it was interesting. It just was. It's the only sport where the fan base wants to see the competitors suffer. We root against the players and for the golf course.
Yeah, but paradoxically, in golf, you're always rooting for the favorite. Underdogs don't get. When Tiger was winning,
Well, yeah, but
everybody
that was
rooted
Tiger.
for Tiger.
Yeah, but that was Tiger. Yeah, and the Jack.
Well, Scheffler, I think everybody's rooting for Scheffler.
Arnie, Arnie was.
Arnie's Army.
Jack. We did not like Jack at first because he started beating Arnie.
Yeah.
And let's face it, Arnie much more charismatic than Jack. That was.
That's how television got ingrained with golf. They just said, keep the camera on Palmer. Mm-hmm. That's how they did it.
I don't want to say I'm old,
Well,
but
we
when I
are.
first watched the Masters, we got to see 4 holes
Yep.
with stationary cameras.
Was it black and white?
Yeah, yeah. We didn't have color until when.
Is that set in color?
We had Philco. We had the black and white Philco in '54, and when we did we get color in the early '60s?
Got color about 58.
I don't think we did.
Because I
think
remember
a
we
little
got
longer.
invited to my uncle's house because they got a new TV. It was in color. And we stood around and gawked.
You didn't say this is not for me.
Not for me.
Who looked different? Little Joe was it? Who looked different?
Well, they all did.
In the
Bonanza
diner.
was in color.
In the diner, though, the guy who came to buy the TV in diner.
In diner.
And he says
Is this show in color?
he didn't like color because little Joe.
I can't remember what he said.
Joe looked different
Yeah.
when he was in because he'd seen it in color. That character was great. That guy who did that walk on and was in
Yeah.
30 seconds. He was in 500 movies
Yeah.
playing the old guy. It was unbelievable. You know what I've discovered looking at old movies to some extent, like movies from the 50s and 60s? There were like 30 actors and actresses. They're all in okay, we need this crazy, annoying mother-in-law, Thelma Ritter. Get her there. I mean, they had they played the same person in 12 movies a year.
Well, they've signed these production contracts, and they were just, on Thursday you start this film, and
Yes,
they always
right.
had,
Yeah, they
that
got
was it was an industry.
Well, that's Kenny's biggest gripe about the Westerns from back then. The Indians are played by
Redneck.
Italian guys.
Yeah, well, the other thing is they drove by the same rock every time.
Right.
They're going to get them this way. They're going north to get them, and then they come back to get it. And then they're going south, right past the same rock, going the same direction. They've always. I tell you what, though, my son Jim was talking about his grandfather, who died in '73, but my dad. But he used to, he would babysit, right? And when they were like 4 and 6 or something,
dear God.
he would babysit, and he'd turn on the TV, right,
Yeah.
for a movie or something, and Jim said he'd conk out in like 20 minutes. And he and Chris would be sitting there watching these grotesque horror movies and stuff. Just, people stabbing each other in the forehead. and
Here,
stuff.
kids, sit down and watch this.
Yeah, right.
What are we thinking of our Twins, Pat?
They can lose in many ways. They can lose with giving up 16 runs, and they can lose giving up 2.
Right.
So they can. I think
They're one game over 500.
I think I said this from the get-go. When this is all done, we're going to look back, if we have years from now, and say, how did that team win 13 games in a row? Because they're going to go 76 and 86, something like that. If this is Bailey Ober, they have no chance because they got Chris Paddock, who's never made more than, you think he's going to make 28 starts? And Joe Ryan. And that's it.
That's about it.
Yeah, but
How about
you were praising the pitching a month ago.
I know, but Ober went in the tank and Pablo shut down, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And Simeon Woods Richardson, we sent him down because he wasn't very good. Then he has a bad start. Yesterday, 5 innings, 53 pitches, and they hook him. Mm-hmm. That's it. I was glad they lost because
They deserved it.
They deserved it. He said, "Well, we don't like him facing a lineup 3 times." Well, when he's getting them out, let's wait to see what happens to the first hitter, right? If he gets a rocket line drive, okay, get somebody out.
Are they going to end up regretting? I mean, I think the answer is probably yes, but I think the Berrios trade might be one of the biggest blunders they've had. Because you're getting nothing out of the Martin kid. Even when he was healthy, you weren't getting much out of
They
him.
didn't want to pay him. Jose's got a lot of money, and he hasn't been superb, but he gives you. He'd
be the number 2 starter on this staff.
Yeah, plus he still has never missed a start.
No.
He's Even in Toronto, I don't think he's missed a start.
No,
they might have moved him back for skipped him or something, but he never.
But when he was on, he was one of the best pitchers in baseball.
When he was bad, it was 3 runs.
Did you see a note in the Charlie Walters column?
Oh, I didn't see Sunday's column.
That a noted Minneapolis baseball family has an interest in purchasing the Twins. Well, the only people I can come up with is Clarkie.
No,
he doesn't have any money.
He doesn't have any money. No.
Would that be
Mauer?
Well, unless he's making it up. I mean, I don't think he'd make it up.
I don't know who it is with the baseball. And Marty Davis has a baseball interest, but I don't think Marty's leading the group. Marty doesn't. Marty's got money. The Davis family's got a lot of money, but not that much.
I was joking, but
it'll be if they do it, it'll be a group. If it's Minnesota.
Would Joe be part of that?
Well, he's not a Minneapolis guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Minnesota.
No, he said
I'm sorry.
A Minneapolis family with something like a baseball interest or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that would be.
I don't know. Somebody gave me a name, and Gary something. I can't remember what it was. But supposedly, if the Republican tax thing goes through, it's not you're not going to be able to have as many deductions on as far as your players are concerned, or something like that. So I saw something that's it would not be as beneficial tax wise now as then if it is now.
You want to know what I heard about the Panthers, and I've read it, that because of Florida's tax laws, which are lenient compared to Minnesota, for example.
Players like to go there?
Their GM can spend $1 million more per line than any other team in the. Well, I suppose Tampa could do the same thing.
Why?
Because there's no state income tax.
Why does tax count in the?
Well, I think what Joe's saying is a guy might accept less of a salary in Florida.
Oh, I see.
Because he's going to get.
He's going to keep more.
He's going to keep more of it.
Keep more. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe that. But it's the player would have to agree to that.
Well, all I know is they sure have a nice club.
Well, state of hockey.
Welcome to Florida, the state
Tampa
of
and
hockey.
Florida. How many cups in the last 5 years?
The thing about them is, you beat them, you think, man, alive, we came back from.
They seem to get over it, don't they?
3 guys, they come back and kick your ass.
Yep.
They're how'd they get so good? Well, you're just
$1 million more per line.
Tampa Bay.
They have a 4th line they play frequently.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know the other attraction. You can tell the guys that, hey, don't worry, during the game, your wife or significant other can go shopping. Because we're right in the middle of this.
Right in the middle of a mall. Plus, I'm not going to, you all mock my theory. I'm sticking to it. The Florida Panthers and the Tampa Bay Lightning, Florida owns all the cups in the modern era.
Yes, right.
They don't care about getting to the lake.
Yeah, right.
They don't have to.
They've been at the ocean all season.
They've been at the ocean all season.
And any day that they don't have a practice,
they play golf or playing golf.
And they could do that in January.
And, these stiffs that play here or
Edmonton,
I want to go to the lake. And they can't get there.
By the way,
it's not a bad theory.
Why did we not have a Sunday night NBA game?
Oh, don't get me started.
A kid I used to had said, "Why? You mean to tell me there's no hockey or NBA game on Father's Day night?"
Yes. Well, because all of a sudden, so do they now get a better rating on a Monday night than a Sunday night? Is that I don't know.
Maybe they didn't want to go up against Dodgers Giants last night on ESPN.
Yeah, that did a 2-share, I'm sure.
Right.
But
is this the last year, by the way, of that?
ESPN, yeah, but it'll be Amazon or someplace.
Okay.
But
you're talking about the trade.
The Giants trade, Devers. Oof. Buster Posey is an active boss of baseball because about 2 weeks ago, he put his team on notice. Said you better start performing, and about 4 days later, he got rid of Lamont Wade and a bunch of other guys. He just let them go.
Yeah.
And they won. They got beat last night. I think they'd won 6 or 7 in a row, something like that. And now they made the trade. So.
And he's the shot caller there in San Francisco?
He's the boss.
Wow.
He's the boss.
Okay.
Yep. And they got different titles for different guys.
Do you know what Devers is still owed on that contract?
230?
It's more than that. It's close to two.
Who'd he go to?
He got traded from Boston to the Giants.
Giants. The Boston got.
Let me do the
Boston
math.
got like some hotshot prospect and then a good pitcher and a decent hitter, but Boston just got sick of his act. He wouldn't play first base, and he, was Raphael's. He's a bad third baseman who was mad because they wouldn't play him at third anymore because they got Bregman. So
You were close, Pat. His future salaries, which I don't believe includes the remaining part of 2025, it's 2026 and beyond, is $254 million.
Ooh.
He is still owed.
Oh, so they probably hadn't started paying his new deal then.
I think it started
might be
last year because he
okay.
signed let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, maybe not, but it's a 9-year deal that starts in the $29 million range. Man, that's a lot of money. Oh.
Well, I don't know. So, quite the, what'd you do Saturday? And you had to monitor the news all day Saturday, I would imagine, after the...
Well, just like everybody else, I was, yeah.
What a deal. I mean, wow.
It's a strange story. It gets stranger with each new revelation.
Mm-hmm.
He stops a guy on the street and buys a guy's car from him.
I saw that, but I didn't quite understand what the timing of that was.
And aren't you interested in knowing more from his wife?
Yes.
The wife and some of the kids are in a car,
You
stopped
did-
in Onamia.
I saw a today. I was reading today that he called her and he didn't tell her what he'd done, but he said,
He said, Daddy went to war.
Daddy went to war. Yeah, that's right.
I don't want you around.
And then you and the kids, shouldn't be around.
For all I know, they're in Edmonton.
Well, why the hell did he drive out and hide in the woods next to his house? But although he was, they must have been separated because he was living in North Minneapolis.
Apparently, he stayed in that house when he was in the Twin Cities working.
His house in North Minneapolis
Yeah.
with his roomie,
Yeah.
with his best buddy for life. Who
And how could the best buddy for life not have seen this?
I don't know.
How does that's part of these stories always amazes me. Do you just wake up one day and decide I'm going to go murder Melissa Portman?
Well, he was a well-known, crazed anti-abortion guy, I guess, but I don't know what else is.
Well, we now
motivation
know,
was.
too, he was involved in town ball.
Oh, well, his father was the Mr. Sleepy Eye Baseball. He was Don Bolter was, I think Don was Mr. He's I don't know if he's in the Amateur Hall of Fame, but he was, but Sleepy Eye. And
Reavers has seen the guy.
When I saw his mugshot, I recognized his face almost
his
instantly.
brother, Tally, his brother is, he's got a different spelling, but his brother's dead too. But his brother was the longtime baseball coach at Slayton, Murray County Central.
Really?
And two guys down there that are buddies of mine said one of the great guys that ever lived. Just a terrific fellow. So
This is his older brother, you said?
must have been older.
Okay.
Yeah, because he died a while.
The national news guys have really screwed up the Green Isle part. It's either called Grand Island or Grand Isle. Or they don't have the Green Isle going down.
I called my buddy Joe Krieger, and Chris's buddy, who's Mr. Baseball down there, and was now a Sibley County Commissioner, and he said that this guy recently bought this farm not that long ago from a widow, a guy whose wife had died, and an old guymer had been up there. Everybody in town knew that guy, but he said nobody in town knows this guy. Nobody's met him. So,
And Joe, you'll be happy to know that our buddy Joe, he got a job as a county commissioner because he couldn't stand all the politics of town baseball.
yes, right. That's what we call that. Was we always say he was on the baseball board, but he had to quit to go into something less political. County commissioner of Sibley County, all-time great guy. But I said
That was because my oldest son had a baseball tournament up in Maple Grove, and we drove by the Green Isle Ballpark a couple days before this happened. And it was just weird seeing the helicopter right on the infield with the lineup of all the squads down. Was at 25. That was surreal.
I don't know is there a little river down there?
Never been to Green Isle.
I'm trying to think if there is a river that runs parallel with the highway.
Down there behind
I'll look that up.
Behind the ballpark.
It's I understand it was a very charming little place, but its name has now been sullied.
Well, and until like 5 years ago, the population was about 150, and then they have some fields, and the people who don't want to pay Hennepin County taxes or even Wright County taxes are now the young family with 2 kids that can only spend $300,000 for a house.
Mm-hmm.
They're building houses out there left and right in Green Isle.
Well, do people commute from Green Isle
Yes.
to work in the Twin Cities?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Jeez, that's
And
a
they're
haul.
very upset these days as the idiots have now decided that we have to improve the curbs on 5 and 212, right, Reaver?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Well, we're also
basically-
making 212 4 lanes continuous out west. Yeah.
But there's something about the curbing and 5, because 5 and the crosstown goes zoom. Like this. One of them's 212 and the other one's 5. And they've decided to screw them both up at the same time.
That's right.
That's right. Let's not wait.
About an hour. Without bad traffic, but
That's
about
not
an
far.
hour. No.
I was driving by his commute going to Mankato last week. Somebody hit somebody on the bridge up there over
North of Shakopee there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, when you're
On the Bloomington Ferry Bridge.
the old Bloomington Ferry Bridge.
Yep.
And they were backed up past the Mystic Lake exit. They were backed up 2 miles, and this was 7:15 in the morning.
Do you have to go past the Jolly Green Giant to get to your place?
No,
that's
not
further
that
south
far
of me.
south,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's in Le Sueur.
Is that guy still there? That statue?
Oh, yeah.
The Jolly?
Yeah, but we long time since we had a factory there, right?
I don't know if that is still there or not, but the statue's still, or not statue, but it's a big sign. But yes, that is still there.
What's the nearest good golf course to where you are? Public course.
Oh, there's a couple of them out there now near Jordan, but the nearest good golf course to Le Sueur is Le Sueur Country Club. It's
I've played that.
fantastic. It's a
I've
great
played it.
course.
Ridges at Sand Creek's pretty good.
A lot of mosquitoes, though.
There is a lot of mosquitoes.
You play it in August, man. They come and get you.
I have not experienced a mosquito yet this
I
year.
haven't seen one yet.
Creeks Bend? You a Creeks Bend
Never
guy?
heard of Creeks Bend.
That's north. It's halfway between New Prague and St. Patrick.
Oh, yeah.
You know what we had yesterday in the yard? We had a hen mallard who was somewhat disabled. I didn't know what to do.
My God.
No.
What does disabled mean?
Well, she couldn't fly hardly.
Well, that's busted wing, maybe.
Yeah, well, no, something
Genetic?
leg or something. She couldn't stand up to fly.
I'll be damned.
So I had to figure out some way to get it in the neighbor's yard so I didn't have to feel bad, you know? So Jim was over, so he chased it and it popped up and flew over the fence. We don't know what happened
Hey, you
to
just
it,
got
but-
done telling me you couldn't do that.
What? Well, it soared. It was flying this high. You know,
Okay.
enough to get over the fence.
Yeah.
And
But
those
it
of you
not-
listening,
it
this
was-
high is about 6 feet
It
in the
was
air.
not soaring,
Right.
and she was doomed, right?
Something
But
was
the
wrong
only
with it.
other option was to go out to wring her neck and throw her in a plastic bag, and I didn't want to do that. But,
Or eat it.
Well, I don't know. I felt sorry for her. You know, we had
Maybe a
those,
fox got her and bit her on the leg or
yeah,
something.
or we had. I told you we had 4 boys in the backyard.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe
what the
she
hell
was
it Yeah.
exhausted.
Yes, that could have been it too. That's what I thought. But I felt sorry for her. You know. Anyway,
You know who I don't feel sorry for? The turkeys.
no,
Tired of turkeys.
they're mean.
That
Yeah, but
novelty's
good-
worn off.
Geese versus turkeys. Who's going to win? They ought. Don't you think they ought to have like wrestling matches? You know, these illegal matches, like you have illegal matches in various places, wrestling,
Like cockfighting, only geese
bare
and-
knuckles.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, but just have a goose and a turkey and see who'd win.
I'd say the turkey.
Think so?
You got the bear pecker.
Well, plus the,
He can peck better.
That's right. Yeah, that's what you meant.
and then plus the turkeys have armor. They got the armor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the turkey probably kicked
You
their
ain't
ass.
you ain't denting that.
But the
armor.
geese, you can fly away.
Yeah, well, you'd have to have
turkeys
it
can
top.
fly.
You have to
Well,
have
that's
it
good,
not,
though.
not very high.
Well, they can fly as high as get into a tree.
That's
they
not
sleep
what
in
Les
trees.
Nessman found
Oh, he
out.
thought they could fly.
I swear to
Swear
God.
to God, I thought turkeys could fly.
That might be one of the best comedy. That was a great show, by the way.
Let's check in with Les.
That might be one of the
And you
great
just hear splattering.
comedy shows of all time.
Like bags of wet cement.
And then Les with his office when he was paid.
Then he had the imaginary door.
Paid, yes. Les, and that was pretty
Five-time
good.
winner of the Buckeye Newshawk Award.
I must have that in my algorithms because I'll see clips on social media all the time from WKRP, and the one that came up the other day was when they had the Name That Tune contest, where he played half a second of 8 different songs in a row,
Everybody got it.
and it was $5,000. The station had no money, and the guy's like, "Well, let's see. I think that was," and he's rattling them all off. And they're like, "What? How did you?" Oh, that was such a great bit.
Yeah, they were.
Chai
pretty
Rodriguez.
They were pretty funny for 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Did you think Cheers was that funny?
Had
its moments.
It
had
its
moments.
It had its moments. but it-
WKRP was pretty uniformly funny.
WKRP was better. There was no doubt about it. Better. Mary Tyler Moore was better in the early years.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, early years they were pretty good. But the greatest transition ever is they want to keep Lou Grant, so they made him a serious newspaper editor from being a complete clown running a TV station. That was weird, to say the least. But anyway, Sitka, remember, you youth, you don't know what it was watching TV when we had
4 channels.
4 stations, 3 networks, and it was all Sitka, laugh track sitcoms and bad dramas and then 12 minutes of ads every hour. My wife now watches something, there's ads, she like freaks out if she's watching
What's
a
this?
movie. If she's watching a movie, I don't watch it with ads. I said, well,
Are you,
did for
are you
years.
tuned into Oklahoma, Indianapolis?
I'm watching bits and pieces and then the whole fourth quarter.
Right.
Last 5 minutes still infuriate me. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
Because it takes so long.
How many timeouts does an NBA team get?
4 per.
Well, cut it in half.
Yeah.
4 per half?
I think 4. I think the fourth quarter they got I don't know if they get 6.5.
You reduce them. There's too many.
Yes.
Because
Oh,
on
God,
top of
yes.
TV,
Well, then you throw in replays, which has made things worse. Replays are. We
I
don't
think the
need
game's in trouble. They're not going to. Who wants to sit through that?
In the
That's not in
NBA,
trouble.
each team is allotted 7 timeouts per game, with the caveat that a maximum of 4 timeouts can be used in the fourth quarter and only 2 in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Additionally, each quarter has 2 mandatory timeouts.
In other words, the mandatories don't count against one team.
Yeah,
or
the
other?
mandatory timeouts, often referred to as TV timeouts, if neither team calls a timeout before a specific time mark, 5:59 in the first and third quarters and 8:59 in the second and the fourth, the official scorer will call a timeout and charge it to the home team.
You know what?
So there's too many of them.
You know what someone told me when we were having a conversation about Jim Marshall, and when they had Jim Marshall Day at the Dome, Metrodome, the real Dome, the Dome we should have never gotten rid of, the Metrodome, for football, we didn't need it for baseball, but the Jim went a little long with his speech.
Yeah.
Pregame, and they did a pregame, and the kickoff was delayed like 5.5 minutes. The NFL fined Red McCombs $5 million for not starting the game when it was supposed to.
Are
be.
you kidding me?
That's what he told me.
Wow.
For not, it's what you got to realize in the NFL is we're serving one master, television.
What game was that? Do you remember, Pat? Because there's a chance I was there.
I can't remember.
So this was the day they put him in the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, it must have been.
Okay.
But he went on for a little bit and talked, and well, they should have done it at halftime, but they did it before the game, I guess, and they missed their starting time. And the league had no sense of humor about that.
No kidding, they didn't. Wow. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Anyhow, I still this guy being loose for a day and a half just really confuses me. But where did he flag down the guy with the car? Do we know how far from the murder scene?
Minneapolis.
So how did he get from
With
there?
that is
How did he
unknown.
get from?
That's walkable. I mean, Brooklyn Center is right there at North Minneapolis.
Yeah, how
Got
did he
across
get
94?
from?
don't
How
you?
did he? But Brooklyn Park,
What?
wasn't she?
Tuck it into your microphone.
Wasn't she Brooklyn Park?
Yes.
Yeah. So that wasn't walkable. I don't know.
I don't know.
They haven't filled in.
There
all
are
the
some
slots.
interesting questions we still don't know.
Think they'll ever tell us who the other two legislators were?
I could already tell you, but we're not doing it on the air.
Somebody's already told you.
Somebody's keeping it quiet out of something.
That's probably good.
Out of an abundance of caution.
Well,
I think
and
so.
there might be some idiot out there that says, I'm going to complete his good work or something, So anyway.
That's enough.
All righty.
Yeah, see you later.
We need to buy a car, though, first.
I think so.
Maybe a Buick.
A new one, a Buick.
Yes. This is Ricey for Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. Fantastic deals right now on the Envista, which is Suchi's dream car. It looks almost like a station wagon. It's the smaller of the SUVs.
I think they're cool.
Right now, they have a well stocked in those 2024, 2025, low interest rates, high factory rebates right now on your Buick SUVs. That's what you're looking for. Go to Apple Valley. Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers. I can't recommend them highly enough. And I also know, and I've dealt with them a few times, the financial guys there and gals will take care of you and make sure you can get the payments you're looking for. Jim Paul, Brett Paul, Valley Group of GM dealers. Look at the website and look at their inventory.